Oh,
Are we rolling?
Rolling.
We be rolling. Da-na-na-na. Is that a new watch stand?
Oh,
It is.
pretty good.
Thank you for noticing. I mean, thank you for watching.
That was weird. That was lame.
I have a hot take.
A student needs to be like the focal point.
I'm gonna get threats from faculty members.
Oh, was that the podcast? Did you start the podcast? Sorry.
So tell us about your watch. It actually looks pretty nice. Is that a leather? It's a leather band.
Yeah, I actually got this band
Separately.
It comes with like a nice you know those like. How's it going over there?
I was struggling to get it out, and then I wanted to make sure I got my money's worth and looked at the whole thing.
Oh,
It was just in.
So much for like our. Weren't we supposed to do like a try this brew and like guess flavor profile?
Well, this is the last episode of
Season
season 1. So
Well, you
season
just cheated.
2
Oh, season 2 we can do it.
we
Yeah.
can
So we
start.
gotta start thinking about
Right.
So we dang your watch.
Yeah. It just came with like a nice metal band, but I thought it was a little too flashy for the casual wear.
Are you like a multiple watch guy?
Hopefully one day.
Hopefully one day.
I did actually buy 3 watches to get this, and I'm returning 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
But
Not for you to keep. 3.
Yeah.
3 until you found
Yeah.
the perfect one.
exactly.
What are your thoughts on buying a nicer, what do you call them? Watch face and then different bands and just kind of rotating bands through.
Oh yeah. I'm all about rotating bands.
Are they easy with that one?
Yeah.
I haven't found any that are like super easy.
Yeah, it takes a few minutes, and it's not like, just do it real quick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it takes, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes.
I feel like that's enough
lot.
time to just make you never want to do
I know,
it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's better to just
You
get
just pick a
more
neutral
watches.
color
Yeah.
and you're like, all right.
I'm going to change that to maybe 1 to 3 minutes, because I feel like people are going to be like, it's been 4 minutes to change your watch face.
So what are we chatting about today, gentlemen? What do we want to brainstorm? Brewstorm?
Brewstorm, yeah. We almost did our first coffee Brewstorm, but
I know we did.
didn't happen.
The
Oh, yeah.
schedules got changed.
Yeah.
I do want to do that because I want to test whether the ideas are better or worse.
We should do season 2
Caffeinated,
all
over coffee
caffeinated, yeah.
and just see how it goes. Yeah. But then we have to get up early. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Unless we want to drink coffee at 4 p.m., which I guess wouldn't be a problem for you because you have weird
Start my
sleeping
day,
habits. For the rest of us, it might be a little tough.
I think, we had chatted about this, was this last week? When we were chatting about TikTok and
Oh.
YouTube Shorts, and then that clip that kind of, went mini viral, I guess, just because it's Mr. Beast, but he was talking about how he thinks a lot of big TikTok influencers are going to move from the platform to YouTube Shorts because
right.
YouTube Shorts offers a 45% rev share model, whereas TikTok, it's way worse. And you can combine your YouTube Shorts directly into your existing YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So that you can already capitalize on the audience you've already built on YouTube and don't need to start from scratch. So I think it might be worth chatting about maybe just YouTube Shorts in general, though. Maybe a quick overview of what they are and how schools could potentially use them. Since we have done a good bit of hey, here's how to use video in your recruitment strategies. This is kind of a complementary asset to that.
Yeah. I have a confession. I until a couple hours ago, when you were you shot a Slack, you're like, hey, just be prepared. I'm gonna talk about some YouTube or something as a potential topic. And I opened my phone and opened the YouTube app, and it was literally the very first time I clicked Shorts.
Nice.
And scroll. So I spent 10 minutes scrolling through it.
Yeah.
And the one, we can dive into more interesting things in a second, but the one thing right off the bat that caught my eye as different than TikTok, and I use TikTok, not every day, but most days.
Yeah.
It was that it is so easy to subscribe directly to a YouTube channel from a short.
Oh,
Whereas on
Yeah.
TikTok, you have to click you have to go to their bio and then click, it's not conducive to subscription.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube Shorts, literally it looks exactly like a TikTok. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But the subscribe button is loud and proud.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to subscribe.
Yeah, that's
Anyways.
interesting. I mean, so you can actually, if you everyone's profile picture on TikTok. If you touch that, it'll subscribe.
If you just hit their profile pic, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like
No, it's not obvious. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
But yeah. Just
And when you're you know, what is the proper term? Scrolling, flicking.
I would say
skimming,
flipping through.
flipping through. When you're flipping through TikToks, it's just not conducive.
Yeah.
Whereas like this, it's almost like you could mistakenly subscribe while trying to scroll up.
Interesting. So yeah, I spend a lot of times on like all of the other apps that aren't TikTok because I feel like TikTok's algorithm is too good and too addicting that I spend too much time. And so inevitably, like a couple weeks go by, I'm like, I've spent way too much time. I need to delete this. But then I just like end up using the admittedly like lesser good versions, which are, you know, Reels and YouTube. The one thing, I mean, TikTok has the algorithm just dialed in so well that the other platforms aren't quite there yet. But I mean, I think that's probably just something that gets better with time.
Yeah. And I feel like people don't want to make now like a one-to-one knockoff, but I think it'll have its evolutions where I feel like it'll come full circle on, let's say YouTube Shorts blows up, TikTok kind of fades. I think they'll just, as it fades, they'll steal a bunch of what they liked about it, but they don't want to look like a one-to-one right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with YouTube, the other cool thing, again, being able to weave it into your like more macro channel where you can do these shorts that are almost like teasers and promos for your longer videos to subscribe to your channel. Like you really are just like creating that shorter content that's easier as like a hype trailer promo for the longer videos for your channel for people to subscribe to, like give an update on what you can kind of talk about. And I think it's like almost a free ad spot kind of thing that I think is super cool. And when done well, I think probably leads to, you know, huge upticks in subscriber base, because I feel like not, for as popular as they are, you don't see a lot of influencer personalities on shorts. You see a lot of brands, at least I see a lot of brands on shorts, which is odd.
Yeah, on that note too, one of the things I think I was telling you, Shane, the other day, that I was talking to this guy who he like built the first like 3D consumer printer. Consumer 3D printer?
Yeah.
3D printer for consumers, however the hell you say that. And apparently it was like the most, if not one of the most successful like Kickstarter campaigns of all time. He raised like $3 million. Wow. And then he went and like, he's now like full into like the creator economy. He's trying to create like tools and resources for the creator economy. And he was telling me that his latest project, he's been like interviewing TikTok influencers that have between 100K and 1 million followers. So that's kind of his threshold. And he's been, or maybe it's 100K to 500K. Maybe it's 1 million. Who cares? It doesn't matter. He's been talking to these folks, and he's just been asking them like, hey, what's your biggest challenge? Because a lot of these people, they still have like full-time jobs. Like they haven't been able to go all in on TikTok. And he's like, you have like a massive audience. Like why do you still have to do brand partnerships and all this stuff? And a lot of these people like might be good at creating content, but they're really shitty like business people, or like they don't understand, like, you know, or they're just young, right? And they haven't had this experience. But anyways, one of the things he was saying that I learned is that it's really, really hard to retain like a loyal following on TikTok.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's because of the algorithm, and just because maybe it's also a little bit harder to subscribe to channels. It's a little bit less intuitive. It's also just harder to put out longer form content ever, right, on TikTok. Yeah. And so to your point, Shane, I think that like, yeah, like I you know, revisiting the episode we had a few weeks ago, we were arguing over TikTok and, you know, versus YouTube. I wonder if we're beyond just the rev share model, if we'll just see a shift in where creators spend their time, simply because you'll be able to retain an audience more. Whereas YouTube, like there's incredible high retention of audience, right? There's incredible loyalty. Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how all that unfolds.
I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but I have heard from like several different people like in the kind of YouTube, TikTok space talk about how one thing that like kind of proves that YouTube is almost the like better platform is that people on TikTok try to like have YouTube channels and have vlogs that they like are pulling people like, you know, go subscribe to my YouTube because the YouTube pays you better. You have better like retention to your subscribers and whatnot, and you can like more easily access them. Whereas if you subscribe to someone on TikTok, like maybe they'll show up in your feed, but like
I honestly, and I don't remember if I said this before, but I was saying this before, like TikTok is just the new Vine and YouTube is Twitter. Like it's competition now, but everybody shares all the good funny Vines. I followed probably 4 people, but you see a bunch of stuff and you're just like, going through, and most of them more for entertainment than anything at the time, and they all get reshared on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to stay on Twitter then, because Twitter also has a lot of other stuff that I like.
Yeah.
So now I'm like 2 birds, 1 stone. And I feel like YouTube is slowly doing that also, where I don't know that obviously Twitter acquired Vine and then just kind of crashed it. I don't know that YouTube would acquire TikTok, but I feel like it's going to be one of those things. It will phase and fizzle out.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it's like game on at that point, where YouTube is just going to be crushing it as far as native content and so many different diversified content, which I don't think, obviously it's still video, but not a lot of other platforms. I would argue Instagram doesn't do it insanely well. Like from a seamless user experience standpoint, Twitter is also, again, just like the short form, even the article, things like that, like people aren't really doing that. Threads was a good adaptation, but I feel like for YouTube, this is a game changer.
I feel like the money thing might be a really big, like, maybe push for, like, if creators are already creating these short form content pieces on TikTok, and then you're just, I can make money on it on YouTube.
Right.
Might as well post the same exact video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you're getting all of the like quality people who are actually invested in like making money somehow, moving over to YouTube. And then like, I feel like maybe that's the big push that every app has like their own little like version of this now. But TikTok obviously still is like the biggest of them all and most successful. But in the space of like that kind of
that kind of content,
but like if you can pull all of like the really big creators to actually creating mainly for your content because you're just paying more, and that might take like a little bit of time, but I feel like since there is that incentive, it'll probably like, this is the first time TikTok is actually like at risk of,
right.
And on that note,
rivaled.
What this guy that I was talking to was saying was like, the problem is that TikTok's algorithm is really, really good for getting in front of new people. Whereas like even like YouTube Shorts right now, like according to him, right, is like, it's still hard to be discovered. Whereas the TikTok algorithm is so conducive to like going viral that these creators still need to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
But they're literally like using TikTok as a vehicle to increase their subscribers.
It's their lead gen.
It's their lead gen. Like, it's their awareness stage content, right? And so, what I don't know that I agree with you, Shane, that like TikTok's going to go like this. Who knows? Maybe. I think what TikTok, if they're smart, will probably end up doing is finding ways to enable longer form content in addition to short form content, simply because if they're smart and they see what YouTube's doing, and or they'll change their rev share with creators or what have you. But yeah, it is pretty crazy to see how bold, and like what's crazy is because Google owns YouTube, like they can just invest tons of money and resources into this. And in my very brief scroll of like shorts, I would say like I watched like 15 just so I could be like, okay, I know like a little bit. Of the 15, 14 were TikToks that were just uploaded to YouTube Shorts. Like you saw the TikTok logo in the video. So I don't know how many people are natively creating content on Shorts versus just uploading from TikTok. Which also, like, if you're TikTok or YouTube for that, TikTok in this case for that matter, why are you? I assume it's very easy to share. I've never tried to share, I guess, a TikTok to YouTube, so I don't know how easy it is. You just download it and upload it to YouTube Shorts. Yeah. And
it obviously like puts the logo on.
Yeah, and so you see the TikTok logo and everything and whatnot. But
it's the same as Vine. It's literally like,
you're right. That's a good analogy.
I feel like it just. I don't think it's gonna crash and burn overnight. I think it'll be a slow.
Or they're gonna have to adapt.
Phase out. And I just don't think they can adapt at a rate to maintain relevance that's going to outpace YouTube. Like they can try and move into long form. YouTube's mastered that game and nobody's even close, and like they'll never get to that scale. And so it's like, well, do you want to invest all these dollars and things into that when you know you're never going to come close to competing there?
I'd say what TikTok does have though going for it is the ability to create you can't create, like if TikTok could master longer form vertical content that could be and take all of the creator tools that they have for short form content and then translate that to longer form content, I think that's where they would have an edge. Because YouTube, it's great, they've mastered like the long form content game, but like you're not using YouTube to create the content, right? You're creating the content elsewhere and you're uploading it to YouTube.
Yeah, but TikTok, the whole point of shorts is that you can just, it is...
No, I agree. I agree with shorts. But what I'm saying is like, if TikTok, because TikTok has all of the essentially like creator tools built into the app already, if they could find a way to translate all of that to like longer form content, that's where I think that they could, to 10 minutes or something like that, or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, that's where they might have a fighting chance at, competing with YouTube. But yeah, you're right. It'll be interesting to see.
That seems like a massive uphill battle. That's like a huge, you're solely banking on people wanting.
I guess you're also not uploading 20-minute vertical videos right now.
Who's going to hold their phone for that long and be like, this, that, and the other? Even if you have it on a stand, it's just like, okay, maybe. And if your only differentiator is this versus this, and the sideways already has such a massive advantage, I really don't think.
I don't think, it's I guess it's less about format and more about like the ability to very easily add like emojis or graphics or like a video within a video, but that seems like such a small. But I just wonder.
I feel like YouTube, if they ever were like, okay, this is their core differentiators, these couple small tricks. Great, we'll do that in 2 seconds and it's over.
I do agree. TikTok has like such a good user interface for creating content. Like I was amazed. I was like, remember when I first made my first couple of TikToks and I was like, man, this just seems like a
plug.
Big follow me.
Dan's also the editor. He's gonna throw his username down there.
I was like, I don't know. I feel like you always have to get all the timing right and get the right sounds and whatnot. But they make it so incredibly easy that I think their edge is it makes it really easy for the completely amateur, no idea what you're doing user to make some content. And then it is obviously, as we're talking about the algorithm, incredibly easy to go viral and whatnot. There is a weird in between where it's for all the people in between who are creating the more serious content, and probably if you're huge on TikTok, you probably use the app sometimes, but you're probably making the content elsewhere and uploading it to TikTok. It is that middle ground of people who are trying to do it seriously, I feel which aren't entirely served. But it is interesting to think if you could make some kind of long form content with that ease. I don't know, I do see a challenge with usually if it's long form you're doing less one take funny little raw things, and you're probably doing more if you're talking to a camera for 10 minutes you're probably going to end up rambling, and so you want to probably cut that down or something and doing time lapses or
that's the thing with the short form is you mess up, you just start over. You mess up in a 10-minute video, it becomes a whole process, and then it's well, who wants to invest the time into the whole process?
So if you've been following the Brewstorm for a while now, you know that we're all about generating new ideas and inspiring our listeners to do the same. Oh, and we're also all about critiquing Dan's attire choices too. But here's the reality. Coming up with innovative ways to attract, engage, and delight your students is just freaking hard. And that's why the boys and I were pumped when we learned that Doubletake Promotional Marketing was going to sponsor the Brewstorm. Doubletake is not your run-of-the-mill promotional swag partner. They're your school's ideation partners, who help augment your strategic marketing and enrollment plans with physical products like t-shirts, water bottles, yard banners, and more. Here are 3 reasons why we love Doubletake. Doubletake works closely with your team to understand your strategy for promotional marketing. They listen attentively to your goals and then recommend swag packages that align with them. Doubletake has developed turnkey, repeatable programs to help you reach your audience in compelling ways. Take their Combat Student Melt program, for instance, that has a slew of swag items specifically designed to keep deposited students excited about your school over the summer. And number 3, Doubletake gets higher ed. They're the premier brand merchandising agency for colleges and universities and understand the cyclical strategic nature of higher ed. So no need to explain the importance of increased yield rates to them. Discover how Doubletake can partner with you to ideate, design, and deliver exceptional promotional campaigns in conjunction with your marketing and recruitment strategies. Head on over to doubletakehighered.com to learn more. And tell Matt and the team there that Enrollify sent you their way. Again, that's doubletakehighered.com. I'm thinking I've seen like Instagram stories that have, I feel like are a solid 10 minutes, maybe even longer. Not one, obviously not one frame or whatever, but like.
But part of me is like, how much are they just like chopping them up and then putting, like they're producing them, and then they're just chopping them up and up.
Yeah, potentially.
Clips.
Yeah.
There's this incredible filmmaker that I followed for a bit. He was I forget his name. I gotta figure it out. But he would film like on a real camera, vertical videos, really like fast-paced editing, and cut it up into like story, like short clips.
Yeah.
That you could like watch it through, and it was just like this super engaging, maybe like 4-minute video that you're just watching through stories and are super creative. And it's also like cool because like there's somewhat, of like good content that's like has that like professional polish that's vertical, but not too much, and not in like the like raw like vlogger style that goes up straight onto stories. But he was able to like pull that off in such like a like masterful way that I feel like would be like if TikTok were to do anything in the long form route, they would have to figure out how to like allow people to like kind of level up from just doing you can't just like use I don't know, one of those 15-second sounds like on a long form piece of content.
To throw a huge curveball, I don't know if you guys saw the Meta update or the thing that they're working on with the text to video.
Yeah.
Which they're so like the AI now, I forget all the other, there's a bunch, but it's like the text to JPEG type stuff now where it's like show Elon Musk making pancakes
like Dolly
in a crappy New York City apartment, and it'll like just kind of make AI will just make the image.
Dang.
And then some are good, some are awful, or whatever, but Meta's testing out text to video.
Yeah.
And so they successfully had somebody basically explain through text, they wanted a picture of a teddy bear painting a teddy bear. And they made it happen basically, and it looked pretty good.
Dude, speaking of that, did you see, I don't know if it was OpenAI. I saw this on Twitter last night. I think it was OpenAI. But they did a podcast interview between Joe Rogan and Steve Jobs.
No.
And it was entirely...
They just paired questions and responses.
Oh,
yep.
wow.
That's awesome.
And it was like I listened to the first 15 minutes of it, and, knowing that it was fake, I was like extra attentive, obviously, right? But it was freaking good.
Yeah.
It was like, this is freaking ridiculous. And like, which means they're going to have to get like, all these podcast distributors are going to have like verified podcasts now. Just to confirm that like, this is actually the Brewstorm, right? And not just some AI generated thing, right? Anyways, I feel like we're going like way off tangent. But
all right, let's go back to YouTube Shorts and how colleges and universities could use
bringing it back to education. Come on, I was able to talk for a little bit.
Dan was talking. Dan's talked more this episode than any other episode because we haven't talked about higher ed at all.
Dan, you have to start. Just throw something out there. If you were CMO of
University of Enrollify.
Danny Boy University.
Well, I mean, I think basically, if you're a university, you're probably not really amazing at either, TikTok, let alone YouTube Shorts. And so...
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even individuals, I feel like my friends struggle to make like regular like quality content for TikTok and whatnot. And like half of it's just terrible, videos of them that they thought were funny. And I don't know. I feel like we are in a moment where there isn't the like proven winner at the moment. So it's best just put content on everything. And so I assume like it is just figuring out like how to best make an actually good short content piece.
Yeah.
And I doubt, universities aren't trying to make their money off of
Right, yeah, the ad
YouTube
revenue.
shorts.
Yeah.
So there's not like a huge pull to just, unless, I don't know, tuition's down that bad.
Yeah, I do feel like, I mean, any money is money.
I don't know if can you do that? Could a university page
Why not, right?
make money?
Yeah. If they're open to having ads on there.
Yeah, okay, I guess you're right. That would be really interesting. How many colleges and universities are making money from YouTube through ads?
Yeah.
And like, how much are they making?
Small. Yeah.
I'm sure it's tiny, but like, it'd be interesting if someone's like, dude, we're making $3 million a year
but if you have
in
like
ad revenue.
Not to like stereotype by any means, but like the Arizona States of the world.
Yeah.
That are like crazy cool schools, have a lot of people that are in that influencer space. Like they could throw out 100 students that all do slightly different things, are interested in different things, have them just create content for the school, and then do a rev share model with those students where like you keep 25% and give them 75 and split it among them. Hey,
I love that.
You're tapping into the network of all of you combined, not just like one of you doing your own thing.
True.
And you're diversifying to what they're talking about, so you're hopefully hitting different targets pretty easily, where I feel like YouTube Shorts is good at, again, not new discovery, but like, hey, you've looked up a lot of stuff about these things. Here's some entertainment stuff, some sports stuff, some comedy stuff, whatever it might be.
Do you think it is a better idea to focus on creating good content for, say, like subscribers and like the feed? Or do you think if you're already creating that kind of content, or at least, trying to, creating it more for being the ads on that platform? If you're already going to be spending money on like, video ads in some capacity, do you think like tailoring some kind of like ad content?
That's what I would do with the YouTube Shorts. Let's say, again, going back to like the rough rev share model I made up of 75% to the students, they all split it, 25% comes to you, 25% goes right back into YouTube ads. And you just take the stuff that's already been made and you put it there.
Yeah, the successful.
And this is ideally a break-even thing for you all. And you're hopefully generating leads and interest and awareness based on these ads that you're running, not to mention all the organic stuff that you're doing. That seems like, again, that's not something for every school. Like a small community college probably can't pull that off.
Right.
But schools that have bigger brands or have personality can definitely do something like that, even if you had 20 people.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot. Like you pick somebody from each major and each sports team, each fraternity and each sorority, right there you have 50. Start with those people, see who's interested and who's interesting. If they're not great, like whatever, they'll weed themselves out. If you're doing your model based on views, whatever, like they're not going to get paid anything anyway. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, having the paid for like views and whatnot, like giving a student, some actual like revenue based on their success on the platform, I feel like is a huge, like, might be the key to getting people to actually care about the content.
And then who's not going to want to contribute if they have the time? Like,
it's like the like a bunch of I think the All In podcast does this. I know for sure like the My First Million podcast does this, where what they would do is they'd say, hey, and these are obviously like huge podcasts, but like they'd say to their audience, hey, we're gonna do like a TikTok, we're gonna do like some sort of like not a giveaway, but like what am I looking for? Like a contest. The contest is what I'm looking for. And we're gonna give $5,000 to the person that makes like the best episode recap in 60 seconds that we can throw on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And then what they're like, just use this hashtag. So you create it on your own TikTok or your own YouTube Shorts, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Use this hashtag, and then we're gonna pick the best, and we're gonna give you $5,000.
Yeah.
And they've done this several times, and then they've actually like hired these people to like be full time creating for them. To your all's point here, like as the university, why not say, hey, we've got this content, or like we've got this event coming up. This, whether it's a basketball game, or it's homecoming, or it's an open house. Whoever makes the best reel or TikTok or YouTube short at this event, we're going to give $2,500 to, or whatever it is, right?
I like this idea a lot.
Hopefully you get a shit ton of content, and maybe most of it is or let's say 50% of it is decent. Let's say 25% of it is good, and 10% is great. If you got 10 students that gave you great content, you pick the best one, but then you can still use the other stuff for whatever you want, right?
And you paid $2,500.
And you paid $2,500. Like an agency would be 10 times that, right? And the content would be shittier. And I feel like that's the kind of stuff that people have to get super creative. Like, how do you incentivize, especially, and to your original point, Shane, anytime I feel like there's a new channel, you could go spin your wheels as a staff trying to figure out what our strategy for YouTube Shorts is. Or you say, hey, why don't we throw this out as a contest to our students? Let's see what happens. And let's just take their content and test it. Yeah. And if it works, then we should consider, all right, how do we design a better strategy around this, invest more resources in? If it totally tanks and you thought the content was really good and these are your top student creators, then maybe it's just not the right time for you to invest more resources into this particular channel. Yeah. It'd be a good testing strategy.
Yeah. I mean, there are professional sports teams that have gone through a rebrand and outsourced the design of their new logo. They're completely revamping, not refreshing. Yeah. To the fans, and let them come up with something, and then they basically pick the best, or they augment one slightly. Yeah. And use that. Yeah. And then they give them a small prize. Yeah. And it's you have.
It's 99
designers on staff.
99 fans.
How many things are they going to come up with? Yeah. And now you have thousands of people submitting things.
Who are
I'm sure weeding through is annoying, but
I'm sure. Yeah.
There's probably, it's pretty easy to just skim through and be all right, this is crap, just based on the quality of whatever they have.
But also just how cool would it be, if you saw, even if you saw your school doing something like this as a prospect or a current student, immediately I feel you'd have this sense of pride of wow, they know us, they get us, and that
they
alone,
want us to have our input on the way that X things are run, done, however they're hosted for other potential people, and not just oh, we're gonna do it our way and whatever. Because I feel some people may traditionally think, those things are less interesting. And it's a little more you just show up and you sit in a lecture hall and chat. And it's well, not everybody does that. Yeah. But if that's the stereotype, most people are probably going to think that's what it is. And it's up to you to kind of break that and form something new and show that off.
Somewhat of a tangent, but it's related. So I was talking to Tony Fraga, who is the CEO of Direct Development, who is a major investor in Enrollify. And he was telling me that he was driving with his kids, and he was listening to the Enrollify podcast, and all of a sudden,
good thing I wasn't listening to the Brewstorm.
All of a sudden, an ad came on, and it was my voice, and I know Tony's kids, and they were like, "Is that Zach? Why does he sound so weird?
Wait, that's so funny."
And he was they literally just started being this is so cringy, and they were just ugh, turn it off. Yeah. And then
this is why I don't listen to the podcast when I would end that.
Tony was dude, no, guys, this is an ad. People paid to be on this show. They paid to get their product endorsed by Enrollify. And then they're well, why don't they just casually they're Zach should just be oh, by the way, my new favorite app is Good Kind, or by the way, my new favorite place to get swag is Doubletake Promotional Marketing. And they're he should just weave it into the conversation so it feels natural. This feels so awkward. And anyways, there's and his kids are 14 and 12 or whatever. But point being that they are so, and this is, I feel such an old fart saying this, but the way that we even we think about ads and sponsored content today, even though we're 10 to 15 years older than these kids, it's already so different. They're so attuned to what sounds spammy or fake. Anyways, all that is to say is that I think that there could be a lot learned from contests like this of submitting content, and if you and your staff are reviewing these videos and there are these one-liners, or people throw out a word cringe, and you have no idea what that is or like what that really means, it could be also just an interesting way to be like, hey, Dan, you just submitted this. Explain this to me. Like, help me get it. And then you explain it, and they could use that to go inform their other ad strategy and like other contexts and channels. And I feel like sourcing content from your constituents, I feel like we say this like almost every episode, but I feel like it's so true. That has to be like the strategy of the future for how schools market.
Yeah, I feel like later, maybe not our generation, but one sooner, like people filter email where they're like spam right away, and they know it. And the new version of that is hearing an ad and being like spam.
Especially when you got the 15-second button to like skip.
Even when you try and weave it in sometimes, and it's like, all right. Anytime anybody in a podcast says all right, they're cutting to an ad. Like every single time. It's always like, all right, now let me talk about... And it's like, all right, I'm tuning out for the next 30 seconds, or I'm skipping through and hitting that little like 10-second, 15-second fast forward.
Which is why we have to weave in our sponsor Doubletake more naturally into our
Or we just play it in 5-second installments.
So by the time you look for like the skip button, it's like already passed.
Yeah. But I feel like that's, it's so hard to do ads well. I feel like you're better off. The whole thing needs to be an ad, but the person needs to feel like it's not. So that the second they start listening, it's consistent all the way through, rather than like, oh, interesting ad, and then interesting again, and just like, how do you maintain that level of interest by being an ad the entire time? And I think that's the hard thing, that you need a student to do that. Nobody in your marketing admissions team is going to go on camera and be like, hey, everybody, and then everyone's just going to be like, it's good.
No, I feel like this idea of like creating some kind of contest, which I feel like just like everyone is like happy to like make creative content and like to have an excuse to do it about your school, which you already probably are like, trying to convince your friends to come to, and it's not like you're trying to convince them like, oh, you like the school, you want to like get people to come here. It's like most people probably are already like have an affinity for their school. I feel like putting that incentive behind it, like, I feel like, and I don't mean this as an insult to the Brewstorm, but this might be like the best, like, really truly, like one of the ideas that could actually work. And I actually genuinely would love to see a school do this, because I swear, like, I think this would actually work, and I want to like. No, we gotta convince someone.
That's the teaser, by the way. That's the teaser right there.
Yeah. Not to downplay the other ones, but this one is one that I think is very Brewstormy in that we just made it up, but also
it's easy.
Has
it's
a lot of legs to it.
Yeah,
and requires minimal work. It requires some organization and setup and sourcing of people, but then after that, ideally, it kind of carries itself.
I know. One of my friends who goes to University of Virginia, he would always share, sometimes people would make these like TikToks of like when the foliage would come in and like all of the leaves started changing. People would always like make some really cool videos of that. And it wasn't like necessarily about the school, but it was like one of those things that I'm sure the university was like, this is great. This makes our campus look gorgeous.
Beautiful.
And it's like, oh, check out this cool gem and like, the gorgeous like
check
wilderness.
Out the lawn.
But like basically just getting people to like make that tailored to a little bit more on the like ad side of like showing off more of the school and less just like the gorgeous views. I feel like there's a lot of legs there.
Well, I think we should end on a high note before
it all Dan talking. When's the last time?
Thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of The Brewstorm.
That was good. Honestly. I'm going to do the Porky the Pig. That's all, folks.
All right, we good?